here. What's going on, guys? Hey, what's going on, guys? Noscope Pesnati here, and today I want to talk to you guys about kind of a phenomenon that's been happening all over the world. If you guys are familiar with the movie The Lost Boys, I'll get a bit into it. So the phenomenon I'm talking about is just the amount of men, perceived men, or this notion that like father, like son, it's an expression that has a lot of meanings. And we look at society, and we tend to put a lot of expectation and general common sense within good faith, I'd like to say. But people aren't perfect. Some people are far from perfect. And I don't know. I just want to share with you some patterns and or inconsistencies with society. Now, what's cool about the movie The Lost Boys is that it's kind of got this underlying tone. We get the overtone of the movie. It's like, oh, it's like boys who lost, who crave it, who are probably seeking adventure, going through struggles, and yeah, that's at face value. That's basically what you see. We have the character Mikey Boy here. He's a main protagonist. The main protagonist, lore-wise, if you want to be specific, would actually be Corey Feildman. He's actually in this movie, and there's a bit of a trilogy with him involved with the rest of the films. Aside from that, Corey Feldman's kind of like the lore main protagonist. This guy, for this movie, he's like the general protagonist of the movie, The Lost Boy. So, this is Mikey Boy. He grew up with his mom and his younger brother, and they're going on a family trip to like Cassia Rico or some shit, some place in the States. It's murder capital of the world. And like a lot of the overlying tones of the movie is like you see like all these punk rock, because it's like late to mid 80s style kind of era. You see a lot of these punk rockers and like feminists and like like the generic almost it's like a step up from the Socias and the Greasers. You got the metalheads, and then the punk rockers, and then the gangsters, and then the the funky guys, and then the people that rollerblade, and then those like the rich boys that like fucking like stuck up and shit, like that kind of like arcades and shit like that. So I don't know. The category I'd put Mikey Boy here under is well, he doesn't really fit into a category. He's kind of his own man, or so to speak. And this movie really goes a lot into like, on a side note, how like one like when you tip over a domino and it creates like the domino effect, right? All the dominoes fall. Well, like eventually a series of events happen, and basically out of excitement and like the drive to like go into the unknown, that kind of male characteristic. He comes across this guy. He's kind of like he's kind of like the classic the classic rival of Mikey Boy, the Tyler Durden kind of effect, in which he actually has the girl that Michael wants, and you know, like he ends up trying to Mikey Boy ends up trying to like, you know, like man put a man up to try and impress the girl, right? And but like little did Mikey Boy know that the basically basically this guy's like it's like he's like a fat Mike, kind of kind of looking character to him, except like he's kind of like the he's like the Chad, but like the like not fully like self-actualized Chad, kind of like the bitch boy rich, I'm a Chad, or like I only got stuff because of my stats kind of guy. um it's really weird, and like so this guy Mikey Boy falls for the tricks. um I don't want to spoil the movie for you guys. If you guys want if you guys want a link, I'll put it in the description below. You guys can go check that out before you miss too much on this movie. I'm basically gonna spoil the movie at this point, but so Fat Mike gives Mikey Boy a wineskin. He's like, "Hey, you want to be one of us? You drink some wine." He's about to drink the wine, but this was he's about to drink the wine, and then before he drinks the wine, the girl that he was trying to impress, to get her away from Mikey Boy, goes on and says, "Wait, it's blood," and then he drinks the wineskin, like kind of disregarding the woman's opinion, or help, if you could say. And then Mikey Boy, he ends up waking up and in his bed, and his brother's a pretty good caricature. His younger sibling is in the comics. Um, he's very his younger brother is very expressive. Like you'll find him at the comic book shop a lot. The Corey Feildman and like Corey Harim in the movie, they go up to the younger sibling and try and like you know try and give him some like they try and give him the hint that oh, like it's murder capital of the world though, there's vampires, but like they try giving him these vampire comics. But before he's all like he walks in like younger siblings trying to like, these guys are kind of like, "Yo, what are you doing in our turf? You don't look like you know anything about comic books." Like, because he kind of looks like a Soch, you know. He's got like the kind of preppy stuff, you know, like that. You know, it's kind of like he kind of looks like his mom pampered him in a bit, but kind of like 80s style. So he's got like the surfer haircut and the fly collared shirts and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, so like they're kind of just like, you know, like they're kind of like the like
aside from 80, they're kind of like the 90s kids with the rat tails and stuff like that. Yeah, they're kind of like on a socially different level. So what the younger siblings got to do is he's got to prove to them that he knows about comics. So he starts talking about like Superman and like Kryptonite and stuff like that, and like his whole knowledge of comic books. And then they're just kind of blown away, just like, oh, okay, okay, you know, but and the younger siblings thinking like, oh, I passed the test, like, oh, that's good, I'm in, you know, like kind of on like a psychological level. And they're trying to like they're trying to feed him like some vampire comic books, but you know, like kids just all like, what do you mean I passed your test? Like, I'm not really into horror comic books. And they're just all like, don't worry, you'll take this, you'll survive, don't worry. So like you can really see the kind of the era, the like mentality, the kind of like background where all these people come from. Um, we then find Mikey Boy back in his bed at Grandpa's house because that's where they're staying for like the vacation. You know, Mom's got to find a job, so she goes find work at the down by the beach the beach walkway. There's like a fair that's going on like every day by the beach. So that's the general hangout. That's basically like kind of like the map of like this whole movie scenario. Everything happens within this like kind of like Ferris wheel theme park beach area. So like Mikey Boy's at home, he wakes up and doesn't realize that he consumed vampire's blood. He's turning into a vampire. And he proceeds to go check things out around the house. And his, like, of course, his younger siblings taking a bath in the bathtub. You know, like dogs in there, like, you know, watching, like making sure the kid's okay and stuff like that. It's like a big husky dog. It's the grandpa's dog. My grandpa's kind of like a he's kind of like a old timey. Basically, like he has a bunch of fucking like stuffed animals that he's hunted. He lives in a cabin. So you got these 90s era mama boys almost. And like you know like mom's kind of like a like that alpha male sweetheart. She's kind of a bimbo dumbass, but she only acts like a bimbo dumbass. Like there's a reason why well, she says it herself. She's like, um, there was a line in the movie where she was, Grandpa was all like, he referenced, you're the only woman I knew that didn't, benefit from a divorce. And then she replied, but like, no one really benefits off of a divorce. Basically implying that even if she went on a divorce and fucked the guy for his money, that uh like it wouldn't be helping the economy at any rate. She'd probably be on welfare, and she'd probably be in the same position she is now. So fucking that was interesting. That was really interesting. That's why, like, I think I consider her of everyone else in the movie kind of like the alpha female. Even though she kind of acts like an idiot, she really isn't. Like, as I'd say, she's probably one of the most interesting people in the movie. Although she does have her faults. She's pretty desperate. It plays into the movie. It plays into a big part of the movie later. But yeah, so Mikey Boy, he's going up, he's checking around the house. He notices his younger siblings in the bathroom. So he has this massive urge to I guess he gets this massive urge for flesh. You can see it in his figure when in the scene where he starts approaching the bathroom. He starts kind of snarling at his brother like he's losing his mind. And then the dog kind of gives him a second, and Mikey Boy still keeps on crawling up, losing his mind, and like then the dog starts growling and stuff like that. Big husky, like it's like the dog knows, and like it goes to a point where the dog like lunges at Mikey Boy and like I guess they end up falling down the stairs, and the brother gets out like just like completely oblivious, runs downstairs, and make sure the dog's okay. Everyone, the dog is fine, but Mikey Boy's bit in the hand. And there's this whole scene where like, he's calling mom from at work and stuff like that, and you know, uh, he, he's all like, oh, Mikey's trying to kill me. He's a vampire and stuff. She comes home like on shift, of course, and has to come home to Mikey Boy went into his room to enclose himself, so the younger sibling has to explain to his mother why he made her come home from work because basically he was saying over the phone that his brother's gonna kill him, and excuse he essentially gave her was, oh, I'm sorry, Mom, like I was reading too many comics and I got it all caught up in my head and stuff like that. And yeah. Well, no, sorry. My bad. This was after after he got bit and he went to his room. Mikey Boy went to his room. He woke up, he hit the ceiling because he started flying because he's a vampire and he doesn't like realize this yet. And so he ends up like flying out of the window and shit. His brother sees him in the other window, like hanging outside, and then he calls his mom, and then he's all like, "Oh, like Mom, this, that, like he's gonna kill me." So she comes home. Then he has to explain that, oh, I was reading comics, it's just speculation, and she's furious. Like Mikey Boy tried to drink some milk before the whole ordeal, and like he couldn't digest it. So he went into like a heave, and like that's why there's milk on the floor. She's like, "Why does this place look like a pigsty?" And like so, the most of the movies I'm trying to walk around, mom finding out, Buddy's a vampire. Brother's kind of catching on because like the guys are giving him the books, like they're all the information it's like he's almost onto it, he's like he kind of like feels like his brother's a vampire. But like what's interesting is that it's a really it's kind of like a messed up perverted it's kind of like a messed up perverted almost parallel to like biological biological instincts. You see, so in the case of the Lost Boys, it kind of gives a really grim depiction of well, yes, the movie's about vampires, but it's also like it gives a really grim like undertone about puberty and like sexual needs and stuff like that. Very cultic or occultic, if you will. There's a lot of overtones to the movie. Like I think it's really interesting. It was very well put together, but there's a lot of fucked up things about the movie as well. Also, when the when after all that, they end up going to well, essentially the kid ends up or the Mikey Boy there, he ends up going back to like the lair, um, to like find the girl that he met that night, you know Big Mike, that fat Mike's got. So he does that. What was interesting is on the milk carton, it showed it zoomed into a picture of a missing child, and Mikey Boy goes to the lair. Fat Mike and his goons aren't there. And it's just the girl. He notices the girl, and he's all like, blah blah blah. So she ends up, he's like, oh, what's happening to me? Blah blah blah. And then she ends up seducing him and stuff like that. Yeah, she ends up seducing him and stuff like that. Sorry, I just had a few technical difficulties. I'll try and cut that out of the video, guys. Sorry. Yeah. So, she had a few, she seduced him, basically. He stayed for the night. Then he wakes up and he realizes that the wound on his hand that the dog bit him from is gone. Like, he's basically healed over. And that's basically, well, what else is it? It's like, like vampire healing powers. But what that also kind of, like, now that I think about it, just like off the top of my head, that's like I don't know, it's like coming back to your senses, like, I don't know, like, I don't know, it's like being, it's almost it almost says like naivety or something like that, just like that naivety of the young, the how youthful the young feel, because now he's a vampire and he can live forever, right? So it's kind of like the whole movie's kind of like it's like this it's like almost like an attack on masculinity slash vampire horror flick slash fucking Peter Pan spin-off, like, cause Lost Boys, it's like the kids there from the thing. So like basically, yeah. So he does that, heads back. His younger sibling, he goes back to the Frog Boys. These characters, Corey Feildman and Corey Harim, and they're still feeding him this vampire stuff. He's just trying to, like, go see some cool comics and stuff like that. But now they're getting him really into it, because now they're telling him stuff about, like, the head vampire and stuff like that. So now they're on a mission to go hunt down the head vampire. But little did they know that Mom invited the manager that she works for over, and they suspect him of being the head vampire. So they proceed to he unexpectedly invites him over for dinner. And it was pretty cool at this scene, because caring alpha male mother, like kind of scenario. He's just kind of like, oh, I didn't know you're having someone here, and she was like, oh, I didn't know you were having someone here, and he's just all like, okay, well, we're just gonna go up into my room, and we're just gonna grab the jar of peanut butter and just, like, eat out of it, and she's just all like, oh, no, there's plenty for everyone. That's kind of like where the dumbass in her kind of, like, started showing and stuff like that. The rest of the movie, she's hilarious, but then it's just like, oh god. So, like, they all sit down, and there's this this hysterical part where she has dinner ready, and she's all like, oh, somebody's got bad breath, and everyone's like, so like, man, the manager basically like her boyfriend, and then like everyone's just like looking at each other, and the dog's just like breathing over her shoulder, and she's all like, ha 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 ha, and oh my god, everyone's face after that, that was that was brilliant. That was brilliant. That's what I mean by she's not a dumbass. Like, she's not as dumb as like she's played out to be. Um. So So during this dinner, they're all sitting down, and boyfriend's trying to put his cheese on the food. He goes to take a bite, try the pasta, and it's garlic because everyone put garlic in the thing, and the whole time they're just trying to test if he's a vampire, right? They're like pouring water on his pants, like turning the lights off, and like putting a mirror in front of his face, seeing if he has a reflection. And weirdly enough, he did have a reflection. You know, beyond the like the end of the movie, like it really made no sense how I like basically he ends up being the head vampire in the end, but it's like they the weirdest thing was that he was able to be seen in a mirror. Like um it seems the only thing that worked at vampires in the movie was like holy water, and Michael was starting to disappear in a mirror. Like they showed this in the movie. So like I don't know. Yeah, so they do that. They prove he's not the head vampire. Ugh. And then with the whole peanut butter thing, that like that was kind of like that was a really like guy thing to do. I find because like he was all like, oh yeah, I got my guys over here, you know, like we don't want to get in the way. Like I know you work, we just go eat some peanut butter out of the jar. That's kind of like a like it's like the male provider kind of like mentality. Like he's trying to tap into that, you know, that male provision kind of thing, like the well-being of the household because he thinks there's vampires everywhere, and like just stuff like that. Like this whole movie like has like deep undertones of like masculinity, like the bonds between male and female, fucking like biology, just shit like that. It's like fucking, it's like throwing biology like in on the I don't know, I don't even know, fucking like yeah. So at this point, Mikey Boy is being tested by Big Mike and his goons and stuff like that. And this basically gets to a point where basically the guys, the Frog Boys think that that it's like whoever Mikey Boy's hanging out with, because they're starting to figure out that Mikey Boy's a vampire. So um they go they end up getting information on the lair, so they go to the lair, and they notice the girl like that Mikey Boy's been chasing after, and then there's a child that was on the milk carton that was missing, and that's her son. um so like they have a car there. Mikey Boy takes the woman and child, and the rest of them search throughout the lair to like find if there are any vampires. They found like the vampires, Big Mike and his goons, and then like one of the Frog Boys goes up. Um, it was either, I think it was Kareem, but like he stabs like the funny enough, he stabs the guy that was the he's one of Big Mike's goons, but it was also the guy, the sniper, the Christian sniper from Saving Private Ryan, the one that got blown up in the bell tower by a tank. Yeah, he put like that vampire plays as that guy in this movie, or that guy in that movie played as the vampire in this. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, he does first. Because they're also making a joke. They're also like, oh, he's the smallest. Like, we should stick him first. Maybe like, because like they don't really know who the leader is, but out of fear, because um, it's kind of like a war. They're in like a war mentality, right? But like, so they stick the vampire. He dies. The rest of the vampires wake up, and then, um, yeah, like, because like, sorry, the survival of the fittest. You know, they go for the weaker one. They go for the smaller one because he's more their size, and blah blah blah. Even though they're all asleep, yeah, I don't know. That just makes sense. So then they end up running away. Like Big Mike grabs like the younger sibling like by the foot, with his vampire strength, but like his hand touches sunlight, so it gets burned and lets go, and that's how they get away. So then they go back to Grandpa's house, and he's kind of like this dumbass, like, oh, like, oh, you don't need to. If you have the TV guide, you don't even need TV. Like that's the kind of guy. Like remember when I was talking about like the stuffed animals and stuff like that. The grandpa's kind of like from he's kind of like that fucking boomer mentality. Like his the masculinity, the trendy masculinity from his age is a in the movie you can just see it dying in this era, and like that's a really it's kind of grim to see that, but it's also really interesting. So they go back to the house, the woman and the child, Mikey boy, siblings, frog boys, all of them. They go and they start barricading shit up. They start fucking making vampire traps and shit, and like fucking eventually the vampires come, and they just start killing a bunch of vampires, like fucking, like really gimmicky style. And then Mikey Boy has to fight Big Mike, or Fat Mike, of course, and I forget how he gets him out. I forget how he kills him. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, he takes Big Mike and he ends up fighting him in the air, just like the classic like vampire like shit, and fucking like vampire to vampire. So like and the whole time Big Mike's trying to say, oh like, oh you can't help it, Mikey boy. Oh, you're one of us now. Blah blah blah, and like basically the girl she basically tried to like Mikey Boy was gonna be her first, like like kill, um, but since the reason why I say Fat Mike is like the your what was it fucking your your Chad, pretty boy, your first world problems, got too much money for like their own good Chad. It was like not really a Chad. He's kind of like a guy when he doesn't get his own way. A guy that like it's like a Chad with an emotional problem. So like she's like, oh, I can't kill him. I guess like behind the scenes. So like he ends up catering to that, and you could see it in the movie. Like he still tries to he still tries to like Fat Mike. He still tries to like punk the guy, but like he's just trying to make what he can with his choice of cucking himself. So basically, he's got this resentment always, but he's trying to like turn Mikey to his side constantly. Like basically, like because this girl said so. And like, so like that's why that's essentially why Mikey like didn't die. It was like because of her. But like, yeah, yeah. Um, just like lore wise. So yeah, Mikey Boy kills Fat Mike. Um, and then they have to make everything look like nothing happened because mom and like the boyfriend are coming home. So then they walk in, and mom's like, "Oh my god, what happened everywhere?" And the boyfriend walks into like the room, and he finds like one of the dead vampires, which is like Fat Mike. Um, Mikey Boy's hiding in the corner because he's like full vampire at this point. He's just like like you you're your 17-year-old teenage angst um sexually either confused or frustrated teenager just in the corner. Don't look at me. Don't let them see me. He's got like that, and um like the boyfriend walks back and he's all like, "Oh, this was my plan all along, ha ha ha," and like he's all like, didn't you know never to invite a vampire into your own home and stuff like that? So he turns all vampire and stuff like that, trying to like, get Mikey Boy's mom, but like everyone's there. Just like Mikey Boy, just, like he turns around with the one liner. He's all like, "I don't remember inviting you this time," and then he just tries to like go swing at him or lunge at him, and then like the boyfriend like throws him over like a freaking like a like one of those like handrails on like the second story, and all you hear is and that's Grandpa coming home. He's backing into the fucking or he's gonna smash through the front door, it looks like, and fucking um Mikey Boy like at a vain attempt, like he hears that noise and, oh, it's Grandpa. He just jumps like out of nowhere, hits the boy like head vampire into fucking Grandpa's truck, impaling the vampire and shit like that. And then like Mikey Boy's cured and the girl's cured and her son's cured. That was missing, and like everyone's like blah blah blah. And Grandpa steps out and he's all like this was after him trying to I guess go for he had a date that night, Grandpa, and he just came back. He's drunk as fuck, and he looks at the hood of his car, and it's like it's like he's a vampire, and he's all like, I don't know if he knows or not, but he looks at everyone, and he's all like, the one thing I can't stand about this area is those damn vampires. That's kind of like a spin of oh, these kids that grew up without any fathers and stuff like that. And I was just like, wow, that's interesting, like that's pretty interesting. Um, yeah, yeah, like fucking, cause like the whole movie was like, kind of like, it's kind of edging towards like, like, fucking the relativity between like male development and fucking vampires and shit like that. Fucking like I don't know why it was so grotesque in such a way. Like it was interesting. It was just like having that be your undertone of the movie was definitely suspect. Like there's also this like before the woman meets before the mom goes in for the to apply for the job and stuff like that. Like there's this picture of a triangle and like a spiral in the middle, and that's that spiral is that's a symbol for like witchcraft and specifically little boy lover. So like that's some occultic symbolism there for you. Anyway, so why I think it's so interesting is that it's really surprising how like how the effects of like basically soy boys or like these lost boys or men with no backbone are like becoming like almost like a menace to society. It's like there's these statistics and stuff like that. I'm gonna read off of what is this called? Uh, I forget the site. I'll probably put it in the description, but uh, uh, oh, hold on. Yeah, there's yeah, I'll put it in the description below. But basically, this article is saying like curse of fatherlessness. This is from Canada. Um, 85% of all youth in prison come from fatherless homes. 63% of youth's suicides are from fatherless homes. 71% of teenagers are from fatherless homes. And 90% of runaways or homeless teens are from fatherless homes. Like, I think that was off of a Canadian site. I'll put it in the description, but I'll go look back and shit like that. But also, there's this Mentoring Canada. I don't know what the whole site's called, but it's called The Problem, and the number of it says the number of boys growing up without fathers in their lives has reached epidemic proportions. High rates of divorce and out-of-wedlock births have created a generation of fatherless boys. So, like, we seen in that movie that that kind of effect, like that kind of Mikey Boy specifically, like without his like mother's approval and like his brother's intellect, that kind of made him go out and like fucking like try and chase down a hussy that almost got him killed, right? I mean, like he ends up trying to like ride motorcycles through crowds just to impress this girl. Freaking like weird shit. He's at all these concerts. I mean, the concerts and like the fair is that's kind of like the societal thing, but like the drinking wine and stuff like. Well, like Big Mike in the movie, he gets him to eat Chinese, and he's not really used to eating Chinese. 80s in America and stuff like that. He's more used to the foods the home cooked foods that his mom can comprise of if she has the money. So he doesn't really see a lot of that kind of poor people food. He ends up trying. Well, like little Mike, I don't know if it's like the demons inside of like Michael coming out, or the illusory effects that like Fat Mike is trying to basically shit test Mikey Boy with, but he ends up seeing like maggots in the rice that Fat Mike gives him, and worms in the noodles and stuff like that. And yeah, like it's like up until the point of like him turning into like actually becoming full on vampire. It was like Fat Mike shit testing him with just like dangerous thing. Like there's this one time like he was like, you got this, Mikey Boy, you're one of us now. And then they just start hanging from a bridge while a freaking train is going over it. Yeah, it's like
like some weird shit. And then like there's this one scene where like this was after like his hand got healed and he found out that like he basically smashed that girl, and there's some like in and out shit, whatever. And after that goes like this was before they this was before they found out that they had to go to the lair to like start slaying vampires. So Fat Mike is going to bring Mikey out to this bonfire that these guys are having, but they're just like perched there in trees waiting for the kill, and they're like, "This is what you are, Mikey boy," just kind of like pushing him more to that kind of like deviant, kind of like depraved kind of like that kind of change in morality. So it's like we see that in the movie. The magnitude of the epidemic. American statistics. Oh, honest Canadian. Sorry. Okay. 1 in 3 children are born to unmarried parents. An estimated 24.7 million children do not live with their biological father. 43% of urban teens live away from their father. 42% of fathers fail to see their children at all after divorce. Since the 1960s, the rate of U.S. boys without fathers has quadrupled. That was an 80s movie. 1 in 6 black men had been incarcerated as of 2001. If current trends continue, 1 in 3 black males born today will spend time in prison in his lifetime. Okay. 1 in 3 children are born to unmarried parents. Okay. 43% of urban teens live away from their fathers. And if the current trend continues, 3 in 1 black males born today will spend time in prison in their lifetime. So that's pretty scary. The recent Newsweek article, "The Trouble with Boys," stated, "One of the most reliable predictors of whether a boy will succeed or fail in high school rests on a single question: does he have a man in his life to look up to? Too often, the answer is no." And the movie perpetuates this. Like, Peter Pan kind of gives that off, like we go to Neverland, we just fucking waste time and do shit like that. Yeah, the movie emits that. Like, the movie, you can see it in the younger sibling. You can see it in Mikey Boy and his decisions. The lack of male authority there. Yeah. Like you could see it across the whole, like, all of the characters in the, you can see it, like, in all of the characters there, like, fucking, yeah, like, it's a very broad, reaching, kind of thing. Yeah. 85% of youths in prison grow up in a fatherless home. 71% of high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. 80% of rapists with displaced anger comes from fatherless homes. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. Gang membership from 50,000 in 1975 to 1,000,000 10,500 in 2006. 90% of homeless children are from fatherless homes. 85% of children with behavioral disorders come from fatherless homes. 90% of adolescents repeat arsonists live only with their mother. Fatherless boys are 4 times more likely to need help for emotional or behavioral problems. TFM, he said that, well, he's a YouTuber. He claimed that he grew up fatherless and that his mom abandoned him in a way, and that he was basically like he was doomed like from the start, like he was basically like or like he was basically like he wasn't supposed to like like he was a fuck up like it was a miracle that like he he like he even like he's even here today. It's like that's what he said himself. He said it's a miracle that I'm even here today. And like I can kind of I don't know if like I don't know. I can kind of relate with him. Like I grew up fatherless as well, and like when you grow up fatherless, you know you can see like half the time you can see how it affects you. So like you try and address that to people, and people are just like, "Quit bitching, man," or some shit. It's usually when you're like younger and like no one wants to fucking talk, no one wants to fucking hear your opinions because you're young or some shit. And there's like there's that, and then there's like the other half of you don't know, you don't really see the other bad things that you do, so I've had I had a fucking I got a like past few years I had a big wake up. Oh my god. Like oh my god. Like I relate with him like fucking like me being here right now is a fucking miracle. Like I basically wasn't supposed to happen. In school, uh I didn't go to I didn't go to a average people school. I went to a fucking retard school. Even they said I wouldn't be like even they fucking thought I was retarded. Like for some fucking reason. Like they're like, oh no, he can never fucking he can never get past like credit courses. Fucking yeah, man. Like yeah, man. Like I get that. I get that. And fucking 5% of the adult male population is or has been in prison, costing taxpayers 75 billion a year. The prison incarceration rate has more than quadrupled since 1975. A boy leaving high school to enter into a life of crime or drug abuse can cost his community 1.7 to 2.3 million in his lifetime. That's crazy, man. Like Jesus fucking Christ, man. Okay, this is from the Minnesota Psychological Association. Adverse outcome 5. Criminal justice involvement. Family structure. And the lack of paternal involvement are predictive of juvenile delinquency. The more opportunities a child has to interact with his or her biological father, the less likely he or she is to commit a crime or to have contact with the juvenile justice system. So if you have two parents in the household, then you're less likely to end up in the fucking slammer or some shit. Coley and Medeiros, 2007. In a study of female inmates, more than half came from a father absent home. Youths who never had a father living with them have the highest incarceration rates, while youths in father-only households display no difference in rate of incarceration from that of children coming from two-parent homes. Harper and McLennan, 2004. In addition, children who come from father-absent homes are at greater risk for using illicit substances at a younger age. The absence of a father in a child's life also increases the odds of his or her associating with delinquent peers. Do we see this in the movie? Do we see this in real life? A high percentage of gang adverse outcomes, gang involvement. A high percentage of gang members come from father-absent homes. David said, possibly resulting from a need or a sense of belonging. Gaining that sense of belonging is an important element for all individuals. Through gangs, youths find a sense of community and acceptance. In addition, the gang leader may fill the role of the father, often leading gang members to model their behaviors after that individual. That's kind of like the goons, the relation to Fat Mike, and Mikey Boy is kind of like relation to Fat Mike. Even though like he's trying to just do it for the girl, you know, like it's kind of like that that competition, you know, like men get like we become brothers for various reasons, is belonging and competition. We will befriend each other like over competition. We might beef, but that shit happens. Role of having a father's child great. Having a father in a child's life greatly reduces the likelihood of a child joining a gang. I completely agree with that. Adverse outcome. 7. Mental health issues. Coming from a fatherless home can contribute to a child having more emotional problems such as anxiety and depression. Fatherless children may start thinking that they are worthless than other children who have fathers and wonder why their father abandoned them. This may also lead to an increased risk of suicide and or injurious behavior. Wait a minute. Coming from a fatherless home can contribute to a child having more emotional problems such as anxiety. Fatherless children may start thinking that they are... Yeah, that's true. This may also lead to an increased risk of suicide and or self-injurious behaviors. Children who do not grow up with a father are also more likely to be aggressive or exhibit other externalizing problems. Children from a father-absent home are also more likely to become depressed and have suicidal thoughts, anxiety, social withdrawals, and school absences. If they see that they're if they see or hear their parent fighting? I don't know what that says, sorry. The mental health aspects associated with divorce on children will be discussed in a future article. And then below has a thing for poor school performance. That's interesting. And right here on Daily Mail, like I just saw this headline, dailymail.com. Growing up without a fear can permanently alter the brain. fatherless children are more likely to grow up angry and turn to drugs. Canadian scientists believe growing up in a fatherless household have a greater impact on daughters than sons. So now, see, this is the problem. Remember it said like the problem? Yeah, like the fucking the boyfriend from look at the boyfriend from like the movie. Like before he turned into a vampire, he was a cuck. Like she was basically like she got hired from him. She invited him over for dinner. Like she's kind of desperate, but like he's trying to play all the moves. Like he's trying to jump through all the hoops, you know? Like he's fucking cucked. Like so like this is the problem. I'm going to present a solution in this video. So we've seen the phenomenon throughout this video. Oh, sorry, I forgot to read it. Canadian scientists believe that growing up in a fatherless household could have a greater impact on daughters than sons. Oh. That's true. Oh. I think that's, I don't know, I don't know if it has a greater impact on daughter. You know, it probably does. You know, just because, like, we read the statistics, the fatherlessness is, like, a big part. I'm gonna present a solution. So, a lot of you might be thinking, well, what the fuck do we do? What I'm saying is, fucking... 1. Stop being a cuck. Stop being a fucking cuck. And fucking man the fuck up. Like, I've been, like, watching a lot of MGTOW shit. And, like, if it's gonna take MGTOW or MGTOW monk to get you to just stop being a fucking cuck. Also... Like, number 2. Okay, that's number 1. So number 1 is stop being a fucking cuck. That'll solve half the problems. Like, stop being a fucking cuck. Number 2. We gotta fucking look to, like, Singapore. Look at fucking Singapore, guys. Like, top 10 lowest crime rates. Like, I typed in per capita. The lowest crime rate, country with the lowest crime rates right now, like, is fucking Qatar. But I typed in lowest crime rate per capita, and I saw top 10 countries. The number 1 country with the lowest crime rate, the safest country in the world. Hold on, sorry. The safest country in the world. It's fucking Singapore. Tiny Singapore is home to 5.3 million people, crammed in an area 4 times smaller than Rhode Island. Fucking Singapore. Yo, you go there and you act up, they beat your ass live in the street. That's my fucking solution. Like, 1, stop being a fucking cuck, and 2, we gotta fucking, we gotta aspire to be like the country of Singapore. Like, we gotta treat our fucking, like, I don't know if, like, we gotta fucking move around our principles a bit or not, but fucking Singapore has it down. That's not even that hard to do. Just, like, I mean, like, sure, like, I mean, like, we could rearrange the principles or not. The most important thing to do is fucking hold people accountable for their fucking shit. And I know TFM says women are fucking horrible at being held accounted for. Yeah, I agree. Fucking, so stop being a cuck. Be held accountable and fucking do Singapore. Because if you... It helps itself. Like, as long as you stop being a cuck,
like even if you are a cuck, like if we do shit like Singapore, we're gonna look at being a cuck as like a fucking crime. So fucking people stop being, and it fucking helps itself. And even if, and you can still be a cuck, like you like it's you're just gonna fucking like wean yourself out, like it's not like you can choose to be a cuck, but like if it becomes like a detriment, like if you're like no, like you can choose to, yeah, you can choose to be a cuck, but like if you're gonna fucking cause crimes and shit, then we'll treat it like Singapore. Like you'll be held accountable for the shit you do. So like, yeah, like all you gotta do is fucking be like Singapore, and then you have no cucks. So like, just be like Singapore, or you can be like Singapore and don't be a cuck. That's it. That's that. Like fucking, yeah. You're welcome. Like always, with grain of salt, guys. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. This was probably my longest video. I'll put links in I'll put links in the description below. I'm sorry, it's been a long night. Anyways, have a good one, guys, with a grain of salt. Bye bye.